Hello, I'm back. I'm cooking again. I'm making Kinder Bueno cookies for the freezer because people keep making stuff that I don't like, so I have to make it myself. And I realise that you probably can't see anything that I'm doing, but it's fine because I'm not actually baking them today, I'm just making them to put in the freezer. So I thought while I do that, I'm going to talk to you about the Oscars, about the nominations, and yes, I'm late, but oh well. So I'm going to preface this by saying I haven't seen every Oscar film. Particularly, I haven't seen Oppenheimer. I did try and watch quite a few of them before I started this video, and I kept trying to watch Oppenheimer. But I'm going to be honest, with what's going on in Gaza at the minute, it doesn't necessarily feel appropriate to watch it, especially with what happened in I believe it said as Rafah over the weekend. I just don't feel like I know the film doesn't glorify. I know it's not about that, but it doesn't feel right to me to watch it at this point. And to be honest, it's one of those films that it's really put me off seeing it for a while because when it came out, I work in a cinema. When it came out, along with Barbie, there was a lot of pressure. You had to go see these two movies, and if you saw one, you had to see the other one. And I really wanted to see Barbie, so I did, but I didn't fancy Oppenheimer, so I didn't go see it then. Especially because 3 hours, I have mobility issues, I struggle. I'm just cutting up the chocolate. And I didn't go and see it, and then I found that a lot of people, particularly, and it's not a stereotype, this is just what I've observed, but particularly older gentlemen would watch it and then come out and be very disparaging against Barbie and be like, oh, well, you don't like true cinema, and if you haven't seen Oppenheimer, I'm not getting into it. I was planning on watching it. I haven't got to it yet. I hopefully will at some point. Right now, it doesn't feel right. That's what I'm saying. I don't know why I rambled for so much about that. So, am I surprised that Killers of the Flower Moon, Poor Things, and Oppenheimer got the most amount of nominations? No, not at all. I think I've seen Killers of the Flower Moon now, and I've seen Poor Things. And I have to say, both of them I kind of struggled with. Poor Things, I found the more I thought about it, the more I really loved it. Killers of the Flower Moon, I'm glad I watched it. I don't think I love it. I think it's very well made, but I was like, I'm not entirely sure now. But I also feel like I get why they got all the nominations. They were always going to, partly because they are good films. They are good films. They deserve nominations. I'm not saying that they don't. But we have to also remember that the Academy is an old boys club, and that will be part of it. Because let's face it, look at that Best Director. I'm still upset about it. It's been a few weeks now, and I'm still upset about it. I feel like looking at the voting base, the nominations do make complete sense, but I'm not happy about it. This is obviously before the Oscars, so I don't know what's going to happen. I'm probably going to do another one of these when the Oscars have happened, but I mean, we'll see. At this point in time, I feel like Poor Things really deserves a lot more than it's probably going to get. I feel like Nolan and Scorsese, a lot of it is going to be out of like respect for their careers, particularly Scorsese, because I don't think Killers is his best film. And to be honest, the more I think about Killers of the Flower Moon, the more I'm like, I feel like more Native American, more Osage people should have been part of it, but you know. You have to, the problem with that is that you also have to be able to have voices that can get these films made, and Scorsese is a name for that, isn't it? This is very rambly. But personally, I feel like Poor Things was so inventive and so clever and so creative, and I really hope that it gets awards for that. Like, I hope it gets a lot of like best production design, best hair and makeup, best costume. I'm not convinced it will, but. I honestly feel like there were some films that got like a bit snubbed. I feel like Spider-Verse should have been up there for best score and editing. Animation is not really still something that's taken seriously at all. When I went to university, so this was about 10 years ago now, I did a module based on animation animation, but being looked at critically and analysed rather than just this is how you make a film. And it was so interesting, but it was one of the first kinds of its type for that sort of module. In the UK, I don't know about internationally, but you still don't hear like a lot about it. And animation, you have to put so much more into it necessarily. You have to, it's not just like you can like accidentally have something in the background and that becomes important later on. You have to physically make it. So it's it's annoying that it's just been nominated for this is animation rather than overall. I touched my face. I mean, it is starting to change. It is starting to change in awards and academia, but slowly. And Spider-Verse was always going to be like a difficult one, but because of the conditions that the animators were put under. But I don't know why we're expecting anything less from the Academy. I haven't made these for ages. Don't remember how to. Okay, so I'm gonna just address it now. Were Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie snubbed? Well, personally, in my opinion, I don't think so. For this Oscar season, I would say Margot Robbie was snubbed in that her performance was better, I believed, than Ryan Gosling, and he got a nomination and she didn't. But when you look at who's there, I haven't seen Maestro. I'm not going to because I saw a clip of it and I hated it, and I've heard nothing but bad things. But I don't know who I would replace for Margot because I feel like they're very strong contenders, and I would say that Greta Gerwig was snubbed, but not for Barbie, for Little Women, because I feel like that's her stronger film. But I have to say, the fact that people are focusing so much on this and not America Ferrera's nomination is really disheartening, because she was fantastic and she deserved that nomination. She deserves so much more than what she's got throughout the entire thing. She just gets pushed aside and she's so good, and her performance was a standout. It's very, I don't know, it just makes me sad. It makes me sad. I mean, I would also argue I don't necessarily think Ryan Gosling deserved the nomination that he got. But that being said, his performance was his character was definitely the one who was sort of made to have the standout role. That feels very... I'm sure that's fine. He does have the standout role, but I honestly feel like the argument here isn't why did Ryan get one and Margot didn't. I think it's why was the more standout role written for a male character and not Barbie in the Barbie movie, you know? And you know, with everyone going on about, oh, this person's been snubbed, this person's been snubbed, and you know who has been snubbed? That's not enough sugar. You know who has been snubbed? Celine Song for Past Lives for Best Director. Greta Lee for Best Actress. Those two were the two I was like, oh, they'll definitely get it. And we can nominate more than one female director at a time. Did we ever consider that? Upset me so much, because Past Lives was easily my film of 2023, and nearly everyone I spoke to was like, yeah, Past Lives was the film of 2023, and yet again it's got overshadowed, and they deserved nominations. They did, and everyone's like, oh, so you'd rather Justine Triet didn't have her nomination? No, they can both have a nomination. Take out one of the men. You can nominate more than one man, more than one woman even. They do nominate more than one man, that's the problem. I don't have enough sugar, so I'm just going to make it up with this one, which should be fine, I think. I've got notes, but I'm really out of order. Okay, so moving on. I really liked Godzilla -1, and I honestly am surprised that it's got a nomination to begin with, honestly. I really enjoyed it. I thought it had a lot that it was trying to say. And did it say it all exactly? No. But did it try? Yes. And I'm really glad that it actually got an Oscar nom, because I thought it genuinely was really good, and I wished more people had seen it. I do wish it had been up for more, but that is a pipe dream, because as we know, that was never going to happen. What was it up? I mean, honestly, I wrote down that I'm surprised it's not up for Best International Feature, and I am surprised because it was really good, but I'm also not surprised because it is genre. It is primarily like sci-fi horror, and even though it is a war film, it's very anti-war. But in a way, that is not necessarily how the Oscars would sort of agree, so I'm not surprised in that. But it's a shame because I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, and it just seemed to slip under the radar here. My favourite film that I watched to do with all this, though, was Society of the Snow. I thought that was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, and I wish it'd been up for like Best Sound, because I felt like it deserved it. Best Sound, what else did I put? Best Effects. Best Director, Best Effects, Best Sound. I'm going to be honest, I loved that film. I thought it was fantastic. And I definitely feel like if it was American, it would have got more, more nominations, but And then I'm moving on quite quickly because I'm getting through these quite quick, which is not what I expected, 300 grams. What's the next one I was going to talk about? May December. So this one, it's only got one nomination, and honestly, I'm surprised it's got that. Watching it, I felt quite like skeezy, because I initially thought I didn't know anything about it going in. It played out of cinema. It didn't do very well. People were very angry about it, but I didn't really know why until I watched it myself, and then I realised it's about Mary Kay Letourneau and Billy Fuseli, I can't remember his name, but the young man, the boy that she abused and raped, and it seemed very obviously set up on that. And then I was like, oh well, surely they've got him involved because I'm pretty sure she died. No, and then I was like, why is everyone just sort of like okay with it? Like, why is it being like? Why is it up for an Oscar? I don't agree with that. And I'm surprised, firstly, that it's up for an Oscar, but then secondly, that considering who they've got in it, that Julianne Moore's not up for an award, because I was watching it and I was like, oh, she'll definitely be up for an award. And also Charles Melton. But the whole thing just feels a bit like weirdly gross. I've done this the wrong way around. I've done this the wrong way around, and I'm just making it up now as I go because I wasn't paying attention. That will teach me. I was thinking it felt too early for everything. Anyway, what was I talking about? So yeah, the whole film felt a bit like paradoxical to me, because I was like, this is perfect Oscar bait, but it also didn't feel right. But I was like, oh, so it would get loads of nominations, and then when it didn't, it surprised me. I don't know. The whole film felt really, really bizarre for me, and the fact that it's Best Original Screenplay, it's not. It's very obviously based on that interview that they did. It's really obviously based. I don't get how it's up for Best Original Screenplay. I don't get really how it got to this point without ever speaking to the family, to be honest. I don't know, I didn't like it. The whole thing I didn't like. I do wonder if it's like an obligatory nod, honestly. Because why else is it up there? So it's taken ages because I did it in the wrong order and the video's taken ages. Because I'm just rambling. I write notes and then I never really manage to stick to them. Oh well, I'm just going to move into like what my best ones of the year were, I think, while I wrestle with the cookie dough. Okay, so obviously Oppenheimer is going to win majority of the awards, I'm pretty sure. And where Oppenheimer doesn't win, it will be Killers of the Flower Moon. But it is what it is. This is just what I would have picked. And bear in mind that I'm obviously a very different demographic to the people who are actually voting, which might be why, but also might not be why. Okay. So my best picture of the year was easily Past Lives. And to be honest, I think that was a lot of people's, because everyone I spoke to who watched it absolutely loved it. And we had people come to see it 5-6 times. And the people who did that for Oppenheimer, it almost seemed like they were doing it to sort of own Barbie. We had quite a few people being like, I'm only here to get its ratings up because everyone's going to see Barbie. It was like, it's not aimed for you, shut up. Just moving this into the cookie dough. So yeah, but I loved Past Lives. I thought it was fantastic. I don't like rom-coms, but I thought this was really fantastically done. I loved it. I feel like I've missed out something. I would also, if you haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend it. It's actually not very long either, which you might like, you might not. I prefer shorter films for mobility reasons, accessibility reasons. But I really liked it. It doesn't take, it's not too long, and it's got some fantastic performances in it. My best actor was Paul Giamatti, I believe his name said, for The Holdovers, which I didn't talk about, but I did see that recently and I loved it. And I thought the way he acts through it, his character acting, his character arc, oh my god, he made me cry. He was fantastic. I loved it. I would definitely recommend going to see The Holdovers as well. It's so good. There we go. Because I'm going to make these for the freezer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll them into balls and then freeze them, and then I can put them all in the bag later. Feels like it's taken up a lot of energy today, which feels stupid, but I've not been doing very well chronically. I had a fall. Anyway. Okay, my best actress, I couldn't pick one. So I've decided to go for Emma Stone in Past Lives or Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, because they were both fantastic and they both deserve awards. And I know Emma won the Golden Globe, but I think she deserves the Oscar for it as well. But I also thought Lily Gladstone was so good. So it's my video. I can do what I want. Best supporting actress. I'd go for America Ferrera. I think she was fantastic in Barbie, and I feel like she's been completely underrated by a lot of people for so long, and I'm so glad that she's finally getting recognition for her talents. Best supporting actor, I've gone with Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon. He's fantastic in everything, isn't he? He's great. Best director, so I would have picked Celine Song for Past Lives. Obviously, as I've ranted, we know that she didn't get a nomination, which was wrong. However, I also loved Anatomy of a Fall, so I've picked Justine Triet. Because I feel like she deserves it, and honestly, I feel like more foreign directors should get the accolade. Best adapted screenplay, I'm going to go for Poor Things. Now, I have never read the book, but I thought the way it was adapted onto film was really inventive. Best original screenplay, Past Lives. Best original song, What Was I Made For? And honestly, a lot of it is I'm still upset from a few years ago when the Eurovision movie had a song up for best song, and it was the only song that was a part of the actual film, and it didn't get it, and I was like, but it's the only one that's a part of the actual film. And it was a genuinely really good song as well. And I love the fact how this song is used within the film. So that's why I picked it. Best original score, I've gone for Killers of the Flower Moon. I feel like these chunks are not distributing well. Best international feature, Society of the Snow. Best animated feature, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which I have to say I got really upset when I watched it because I didn't realise it was a part one, and then I was getting to it and I was like, we've been in here for like 2 hours now, we're not getting to a resolution. And then it did what it did, and it was fantastic. But I was so mad. I haven't watched any of the documentaries, I'm not going to lie to you, but I have heard really great and traumatising things about 20 Days in Maripol, so I am going to look out for that. I haven't really seen it in the UK, so I'm hoping it did get a UK release, or will. Costume design, I couldn't choose between Barbie or Poor Things, so yeah, either one of those two I'd be happy with. Makeup and hairstyling, definitely Poor Things. Have you seen Emma Stone in it? She's fantastic. Have you seen Willem Dafoe? How could he not get it? How did you not get it for that? Best production design. I was saying either Poor Things or Barbie because I really liked that Barbie. They made quite a lot of the sets and stuff, and I felt like that should be recognised. They made a lot of jobs that way. These are very soft. I don't know what's going on. What's next? The sound. Best sound. I went for the creator because I did really like how they used sound design in it. But I have to say, when I see Zone of Interest, I imagine it will probably switch to Zone of Interest because I've heard amazing things about that and the use of sound in that. Film editing, The Holdovers. I loved how they edited that film. It felt just like it came out of 1970. It was great. Best cinematography, Poor Things. It deserves it. It's fantastic. It's so well done, and I want to see so many more films set in that style. It's fantastic. Best visual effects, I went for Godzilla. And I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't seen any of the short films at all, so I have not made any decisions on those. But yeah, I'm going to do this, I don't know why, but today this seems to be going really soft. I don't know what's wrong with it, but we will see. We will see. So yeah, so that's what I have decided are my Oscar nominations. It's kind of hard having not watched Oppenheimer, but as I said, I just don't feel like I can watch it quite yet. I will watch it at some point one day. Today's not that day. Thank you for watching. I've dropped cookie down on the floor. Thank you for watching. These are the cookies that I'm going to put in the freezer. And let me know what you thought of the Oscars and what your takes are. It would be really great to hear them. Thank you for watching. See you again soon. Bye.